What if I told you that the secret to creating the most inviting winter home isn't about adding more decorations, but about choosing the right color palette? Today, I'm sharing a timeless combination that's trending hard in 2025. Rich greens paired with warm whites. And I promise, by the end of this video, you'll be rethinking your entire winter aesthetic. Trust me, this is going to transform how you see seasonal decorating. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Aesthetic Nest. I'm so genuinely excited to be here with you today because we're diving into something really special. A collection of winter home styling ideas that blend vintage charm with modern elegance. If you're someone who's drawn to cozy spaces that feel both nostalgic and fresh, this video is absolutely for you. We're exploring how to layer greens and warm whites throughout your home to create that perfect winter sanctuary. And the best part, these ideas work whether you're decorating a tiny apartment or a sprawling house. So grab your favorite warm drink, get comfortable, and let's create some serious winter magic together. Section 1. Vintage green cabinets and modern hardware. The foundation, grounding your space with green. Let's start with one of my absolute favorite elements, vintage green cabinets. Now, I know what you might be thinking, green cabinets in winter. But hear me out, because this is actually genius. Those beautiful, muted green tones, think sage, olive, or even deeper forest shades. They naturally evoke the feeling of evergreen trees dusted with snow. There's something so inherently calming about these colors, especially during winter when we're craving that connection to nature but spending most of our time indoors. When you pair these vintage green pieces with warm white walls or surroundings, something magical happens. The cabinet becomes this beautiful grounding element in your space. It's got depth and character, but it doesn't overwhelm the room. Instead, it creates this gorgeous contrast that feels both organic and intentional. The modern twist here's where it gets really interesting. If you have an older cabinet or you're working with vintage pieces, one simple update can completely transform the look. Modern hardware, I'm talking about sleek brass handles, or maybe those minimalist matte black pulls that are everywhere right now, for good reason. This is what I love to call the high-low mix. You're honoring the vintage character and history of the piece, but you're also bringing it firmly into 2025. It's not trying to look brand new, and it's not stuck in the past either. It's this perfect, balanced blend. Style it with some white ceramics, maybe a simple vase or a few bowls, and add just a touch of winter greenery. Suddenly, you've created this vignette that looks like it was collected over years, but it feels completely current and elegant. People will walk into your space and immediately feel that sense of warmth and thoughtfulness. Section 2. Tablescape styling. Let's move to something we use every single day, but often overlook: our dining tables. And honestly, this is where you can have so much fun with this green and warm white palette. Mixing textures and tones. I'm completely obsessed with the idea of mixing classic stoneware with sleek white dinnerware. The stoneware brings this earthy, rustic charm. It's got texture, maybe some natural imperfections, and it just feels grounding. But when you balance it with crisp, modern white plates, the combination becomes really elevated. It's not too casual, and it's not overly formal. It's that sweet spot right in the middle that makes everyday meals feel a little bit special. But it's totally approachable for a Sunday morning breakfast or a cozy dinner party with friends. Layering for depth. Now, here's how you take it to the next level. Think about layering in soft elements, linen napkins in cream or natural tones, fresh sprigs of eucalyptus or pine branches laid down the center of the table, and warm candlelight. These subtle touches create what I call gentle seasonal moments. You're not hitting people over the head with "look, it's winter." Instead, you're whispering it through these thoughtful details. Each place setting becomes its own little story, a blend of old craftsmanship meeting modern minimalism. And the lighting, oh, the lighting is everything. Those flickering candles catch on the white plates and create this warm glow that makes everyone at the table look and feel amazing. This is perfect for those intimate winter gatherings where conversation flows and time just seems to slow down. Section 3. Living room luxury. Okay, let's talk about making a statement in your living room. Because if you're going to invest in one piece that completely transforms your winter aesthetic, it's this: a green velvet sofa. Why velvet works for winter. There's something about velvet that's just inherently cozy and luxurious at the same time. The way the fabric catches light, that soft sheen. It's like it's been made specifically for those low winter afternoons when the sun is streaming through your windows at that perfect angle. Rich green velvet, whether it's an emerald tone, a moody hunter green, or even a softer sage, becomes the ultimate focal point. Against warm white walls, that depth of color really pops, but it never feels overwhelming. It's sophisticated, it's inviting, and honestly, It makes you want to curl up with a good book and just stay there all day. Softening with rustic accents. But here's the thing, if you leave it at just the velvet sofa, it might feel a little too polished, maybe even a touch formal. So this is where we bring in those rustic, organic elements to balance everything out. Think about layering in wooden trays on your coffee table, woven baskets tucked beside the sofa for extra throws and pillows, maybe some aged pottery pieces on your shelves. These textures and materials add warmth and make the space feel collected and lived in, not staged. And then, the throws and pillows. This is non-negotiable for winter. Layer them in those warm white tones, creamy ivories, maybe even some chunky knit textures. The combination of the sumptuous velvet with the rustic, natural elements creates this harmonious retreat that honestly just begs for slow, relaxing winter moments. This isn't just decorating, this is creating an experience, a feeling, a mood. Section 4. Wall art and botanical prints. Let's move to your walls, because blank walls in winter feel like such a missed opportunity, right? And this is where we can really have fun bridging that gap between vintage and modern. The power of vintage frames. Vintage frames are these incredible little treasures. They've got aged edges, unique finishes, maybe some patina or detail work that you just don't find in mass-produced frames today. Each one has its own subtle story to tell, its own character. It's such an easy, accessible way to add charm and visual interest to your walls without spending a fortune or committing to paint or wallpaper. Creating a curated gallery, here's my approach. Arrange these framed botanicals on a warm white wall. Don't worry about them all being perfectly the same size or hung in a strict grid. Actually, I think it looks better when there's some variety. The combination creates this curated, collected, overtime look, but with a distinctly modern sensibility. It feels intentional without being too precious about it. His kind of display radiates that quiet warmth and understated elegance that defines really great winter decor. It's the kind of detail that makes people stop and actually look, you know. They'll lean in to appreciate the prints, notice the vintage details on the frames, and it just adds so much personality to the room. Section 5. Fresh greenery in vintage vessels. Now, one of the simplest but most impactful things you can do for winter decor is to bring in fresh greenery. We're talking pine branches, eucalyptus, even simple evergreen sprigs from your yard if you have them. The vintage vessel advantage. But here's the trick. Don't just grab any vase. Display these natural elements in vintage vessels. Maybe it's an old glass bottle with that beautiful aqua or green tint, or some aged pottery with a handmade glaze, or even a weathered ceramic pitcher. These vintage containers immediately give even the simplest stems visual weight and interest. There's history there. There's character. Suddenly, what could have been just a few branches becomes an actual arrangement worth noticing. Balancing old and new. The key to keeping this look contemporary, instead of letting it veer into grandma's attic territory, is in how you style the arrangements themselves. Keep them relatively clean and minimal. You're not creating this overstuffed, country-style bouquet. Think more about shape and form. Let the natural lines of the branches be the star. Maybe just 3 stems arranged thoughtfully, or a single variety of greenery rather than a mixed bunch. When you place these on shelves, mantels, or even your dining table, they create these little pockets of calm throughout your space. They honor both heritage through the vessels and simplicity through the modern styling. And together, those green and warm white tones just sing. Plus, real greenery brings in that gorgeous fresh scent that immediately makes your home feel more alive during winter, when everything outside is dormant. Section 6. Walls as canvas. Let's talk about walls for a moment, because they really are the foundation for everything else we're doing here. Warm white walls, the perfect base. Warm white walls, and I mean warm, not that stark. Cold white provide this soft, luminous backdrop that enhances everything. They bounce natural light around beautifully, which is so important in winter when we're dealing with shorter days and lower light angles. But beyond the practical benefits, warm white creates this serene foundation that lets you mix vintage and modern pieces without everything competing for attention. The wall color sort of quietly holds everything together. When you place vintage elements against warm white, an old clock, a woven basket, maybe some antique shelving, they become subtle focal points instead of getting lost or looking dated. The bright, clean backdrop gives them new life and lets their character really shine through. Modern green accents. Now, to keep the energy up and prevent the space from feeling too neutral or washed out, you absolutely want to introduce those modern green highlights. This could be through throw pillows in a rich sage or olive, a piece of artwork with green tones, or fresh winter foliage in a contemporary arrangement. These small touches bring balance and prevent the palette from feeling one-dimensional. You're constantly playing with that dynamic between the peaceful, calm whites and the grounding, natural greens. The overall effect is this winter atmosphere that feels completely refreshed and peaceful, but also thoughtful and intentionally designed. It's contemporary clarity meeting vintage comfort, and honestly, it works for literally any room in your home. Section 7. Display and collections. If you're someone who loves to collect things, and let's be honest, most of us have at least a few collections we're proud of, winter is actually the perfect time to display them thoughtfully. Green vintage bottles. One of my favorite things to collect and display is vintage bottles, especially those with that soft green tint. You know, the ones old medicine bottles, vintage soda bottles, maybe antique milk glass pieces. These bottles are affordable, easy to find at flea markets or antique shops, and they introduce such gentle, nostalgic charm. Those green hues echo winter's natural tones in the most beautiful way. Creating visual rhythm, the magic happens when you display them on modern white shelves. The clean, bright backdrop makes each bottle's shape and color stand out with this quiet elegance. You start to notice the different silhouettes, the way light moves through the glass, all those beautiful imperfections that make vintage glass so special. Group bottles of varying heights and sizes together to create gentle movement and visual interest. You don't want them all in a rigid line, let them have some personality. Add just minimal white decor around them. Maybe a few white candles or a simple white ceramic piece to maintain that harmony without creating clutter. Less is definitely more here. This combination of old glass with modern, structured shelving creates such a refreshing winter display. It unites that cool serenity of green glass with the cozy brightness of warm white interiors. And the result is just so satisfying to look at. Section 8. Architectural details. Now let's talk about some slightly more permanent elements that can really elevate this aesthetic. Architectural details and finishes. Whitewashed brick. If you have exposed brick in your home, or if you're considering adding some, whitewashing is absolutely the way to go for this look. It gives you that rustic, textural charm of brick, but softened and brightened by those warm white tones. The texture creates incredible depth, while keeping the room feeling light and open. It's especially beautiful in winter because it adds visual warmth without actual color, if that makes sense. You're getting interest and character without overwhelming the space. Pairing with green accents. Against whitewashed brick, modern green accents really come alive. Maybe it's a piece of artwork with green tones, green textiles like throw pillows or blankets, or even living plants if your space gets enough light. These green elements stand out gently. They add that sense of renewal and life without competing with the beautiful texture of the brick behind them. Lighting matters. One thing I always emphasize with textured walls like this: think about your lighting. Use soft lighting to emphasize the natural shadows and depth across the brick surface. This creates even more dimension and makes the space feel incredibly cozy. This combination transforms any corner into a winter sanctuary where tradition and modernity peacefully coexist. Shaped by those calming colors and inviting tactile surfaces that just make you want to reach out and touch them. Section 9. Pottery and handmade elements. There's something about handmade pottery that just feels right for winter. Maybe it's the connection to traditional crafts, or the way those earthy textures ground us during the cold months. Vintage pottery with green glazes. Look for vintage pottery pieces with those subtle green glazes. They're out there, especially if you're shopping secondhand. These handcrafted pieces have qualities and character that mass-produced items just can't replicate. Little variations in the glaze, slight asymmetries in the shape, the evidence of human hands creating something beautiful. All of that stands out so beautifully against warm white surfaces. These pieces create a natural connection between your indoor space and the organic elements of nature, which is especially grounding when we're spending most of our time inside during winter. Modern, organic shapes. To keep things feeling contemporary, pair that vintage pottery with pieces that have modern, organic shapes. Think smooth, ceramic bowls, sculptural vases with interesting curves, or minimal pieces that emphasize form and silhouette. The interaction between old texture and new form creates this really satisfying visual harmony. When you style them together on a shelf or console table, you're creating a winter display that feels both curated and comforting. It's a celebration of craftsmanship, both vintage and contemporary, wrapped up in that gentle seasonal color palette we've been working with throughout your space. Section 10. Statement furniture pieces. Let's talk about one more furniture piece that can really anchor this whole aesthetic: the heritage china cabinet. Painted china cabinets. If you can find a traditional china cabinet with beautiful details, the kind your grandmother might have had, painting it in warm white is absolutely transformative. Don't be afraid to paint quality vintage furniture if it needs updating. That warm white instantly brightens the piece in the entire room, while preserving all those classic details and craftsmanship. The traditional design becomes this calm, familiar anchor in your space instead of feeling dark or dated. Thoughtful styling. The key is in how you fill and style it. This is not the place for clutter or for cramming in every knick-knack you own. Instead, embrace minimal styling with pieces that reinforce our green and white theme. Simple white ceramics, maybe a few pieces of green-toned glassware, subtle greenery or dried botanicals, understated vintage finds that you genuinely love. These are the things that should live inside. The restrained approach preserves that modern feel while absolutely honoring the cabinet's vintage character. The piece becomes both functional storage and a beautiful seasonal focal point. Together, all these elements create a winter look that's elegant, balanced, and perfectly aligned with that harmonious green and warm white palette that makes everything feel cohesive and intentional. So here we are. We've covered so much ground today, haven't we? From those grounding green cabinets to luxurious velvet sofas, from vintage frames filled with botanical prints to simple greenery displayed in weathered vessels, from warm white walls to textured brick, and from handmade pottery to heritage furniture pieces reimagined for modern living. The beauty of this green and warm white palette is that it's incredibly versatile. You can go all in and transform your entire home, or you can start small with just one or two elements that really speak to you. Maybe it's switching out your throw pillows for warm whites and adding a few green accents. Maybe it's finally painting that old cabinet you've been meaning to tackle. Or maybe it's just bringing in some fresh evergreen branches and displaying them in a beautiful vintage vessel. Winter can be long, and sometimes those grey days feel endless. But when you create an environment that's this thoughtful and warm and inviting, those long winter evenings become something to look forward to instead of something to just get through. If this video inspired you, and I really hope it did, I'd absolutely love for you to give it a thumbs up. It helps other people who are searching for winter decor inspiration find these ideas. Thank you for watching this video until the end.